guys. We made it. We're still here. Welcome back to another week of Evolve. I'm so glad that you joined me today to share some energy. And what a week it has been. What a year it has been for us. And this year reminds me of the energy of a card that I sometimes pull for my clients. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. It's something that is not always the most pleasant thing, but I think it really ties into the experience we're having as a nation and as a people. Sometimes when I'm reading, there's this card, okay? And it's one that I pull, and it's not something that I necessarily liked to see when I used to pull it as a novice. It's called the Tower. And its picture is very striking. It feels unwanted when I pulled it initially. It shows a lightning striking in the east. It shows calamity happening and bricks falling and things not working out. And as a novice, I would reshuffle and I would repull because I only wanted to deliver the best news. I wanted my readings to be uplifting and filled with light and positivity. And I looked at this card and I thought, how am I going to spin this for these people? But then you grow. I didn't really want to unpack all of the grotty details of this card. I didn't want to get into that business of figuring out what it meant, but I had to in order to be efficient and to be better at what I did. As with many things in life, the thing that you first turn away from and you instantly turn away from is a thing that you should be drawing closer to. And you see, the power of this card, the Tower, can be found in the dust that settles around us in the aftermath. It is sitting there in the rebar, in the shattered concrete, that we really find the clues of who we once were and what we no longer want to be. When everything seems to be falling apart, it's disastrous, we're presented with this pristine moment of opportunity. This moment when you're sitting there at the bottom of a once strong building, and that's where you begin to start to take inventory of the debris. And I know you say take inventory of the debris. It's debris. Let's call in the haul guys and get it out of here. But there's something there to be examined. You're in the rubble, sitting amongst the ashes. And this is where you look around at the old bricks that built your old life. This is the lessons from your mother and the tribe that they taught you. This is the thing that your best friend once told you that completely opened up your mind. And maybe, and most of the time, if you've lived life, it's not all good. Perhaps there's a cracked brick over to the left that's a reminder of a relationship that had a damaging effect on your spirit or had a damaging effect on your soul. All of these polarizing experiences put you now in a prime position to rebuild. That is the magic in the seemingly destructive moment. It's that you can take the parts of the old life and some of your favorite moments and experiences, and you can place them into a new structure. That way, when it's all rebuilt and standing once more, it is something that actually fits who you are now becoming. It feels right. It's a place that you can inhabit for the remainder of your life. And sure, okay, as with all of us, you'll make some adjustments once you're moved in again. You'll repaint, you'll shift the furniture in the den, and you will do this to accommodate the ever-evolving stages of your life. That's normal. We always make adjustments. But the thing about having the energy of the Tower card is that the destructive energy destroys old and stagnant habits. And it really shifts things for you and finally allows you this great freedom to pursue your heart's desires and to turn them now into a physical reality. Its appearance or energy in your life urges you to take encouragement from the shocking upheaval in your life and to look ahead at new possibilities. This is a time that you begin to envision a new reality. This is a blessed moment in our lives when the possibility of true change can even rear its head. Because this is the thing. This unexpected, cataclysmic event that has happened would never have happened if it was up to you. You would never make true changes. We'd be mumbling about having to get to it. That floorboard on the third floor that was raised for years and we kept stubbing our toe on would stay raised because we wouldn't want to deal with the change. We got to get the contractors in here. It's going to be dusty. We're going to be uncomfortable in the way that we live. The leaky faucet that's wrapped in plumber's tape until you could get somebody to look at it would still be dripping. That's why sometimes God, universe, source, allows things to be shaken and not stirred. I would say we've definitely been shaken here. As a country, we've been shaken. And this is because we would never be unmoored from the cozy life we're accustomed to, because there's not growth in being comfy and cozy. And sure, it feels wonderful. We're entering the season of pumpkin spice lattes and warmth and comfort and tucking in with our loved ones. Our comfort level matters a lot to us as a country, I really think. It's very important. It feels wonderful. Security and safety are what we're after as humans, period. That's not just relegated to our nation. That is a human condition. We all want someplace safe. And so we keep ourselves in these kind of incubated places where we're not pushing ourselves. But in order to grow, you must push yourself. And sometimes the only way to really shift is to completely start over and rebuild. It is more than likely something we do not want to do, and we would never do unless we had to. And this week, I think you could agree that our country had a tower experience. No matter what side you're on, it felt as though the earth shifted. But I'm not going to spend time now talking about candidates and who's right or wrong. I think the pundits did enough of that. Instead, I want to delve into what it means for us as a country. One nation under God. I want to talk about we, the people, indivisible. We are strong as a nation. We are not without our foibles and idiosyncrasies, but we are good. I know that. I am human, okay? So, of course, I can slip into partisan views. I think we all can. But I want to focus on what happened and why it happened on a more evolved level. I want to talk about how we can rebuild. And with that, we move boldly into our futures with that rebuilding. Because that's the American way. I mean that so deeply. That is the American way. Rebuilding as an American is as American as apple pie and mom, which kind of moves us into the season we're coming into, the holiday season. It's almost upon us. It's the season of pies and too much family togetherness and all that fa la la stuff and decorations going up too early. We're just weeks away from sitting at tables and having discussions and the examination of the ties and connections that bind us to the people around us at that table. And each year we know it's coming. We prepare, we notice how the stores are stripped of all the hints of summer, and overnight the fallish decor fills the shelves, and we're like, how did this happen? I just was like buying, floaties for my child for the pool, and now we're singing I'll Be Dreaming of a White Christmas. But we notice. We know it's coming, and somehow we're still surprised. Like, man, where did the year go? I say that to myself and to my friends all the time. But this year, I'd like to look at the silver lining. We've had an amazing opportunity to have a practice run in our most recent elections for our holiday time. What? Holiday time? Elections? What? Let me explain. Soon, many of us will be sitting at tables with our favorite aunt or that sort of out there uncle. We'll be sharing ideas with people who may or may not share our views, but we will gather. And we will break bread, and we will cast disparaging glances and side eyes at the folks around us. But when the holidays are over, we will still be a family. We will not ask the McGregors across the street if we can move in because your courageous sister gave you some great advice that rubbed you the wrong way. Nor will we knock on the doors of the Rodriguezes and have our angsty teen brother take up residence with them because he's getting on our nerves and we can't listen to Black Hole Sun one more time. We don't do this because it is ingrained in us that even if our tribe is cray-cray at the moment, or there's an upheaval at the moment, or if we have a disagreement over the lobster and the creme brulee, I think we know the fundamental truth. We are family. We are always going to be a family. And this place that we gather is our homestead. We may disagree, and we may be saddened or elated at the prospect of being in the family from time to time. We may take comfort in it, but it is ours, and we love it. We also create families. They're not always nuclear. So whatever way you experience family, I know you've experienced this, not always agreeing with the people you love and that you call family. So in this spirit, guys, please know that being proud to be an American applies at all times, because it has never been the people that we were particularly proud of. That has fluctuated. Sometimes there are people we're proud of. Sometimes there are people we were not. But it has been the principles and the ideology that it offered, the hope of a better future, the promise of opportunities that other countries are devoid of. The American experience is a unique one. It is a beautiful one. And every day I celebrate. I celebrate as a woman. I celebrate as a Black woman. I celebrate as a minority. I celebrate as a first-generation American about the opportunities that I was afforded because my parents chose to come here and to live their dream. My parents are West Indian. My father built a business from scratch, and they chose the Keys to do that in and to live in because they said it reminded them of home the most. It was lush and warm and tropical, and it really hearkened to them, that spirit of home and their home countries, both from different countries. They both came here and got married here, and they earned their citizenship here, and my father began to use the trade that he learned in his country to build. He was a mason. He built an amazing life for himself, literally and figuratively, for himself and for his family. He built many of the prominent buildings in my hometown, libraries and banks, that are still standing to this day. And he not only built that structure, he built up the American dream, and he showed it to us that someone could come from someplace else and do something so great as to live this American dream. And he came here for that reason. He wanted the opulence. He wanted it all. And where he was from, that didn't seem like a full possibility that he could flesh out. So he came here as a functionally illiterate man and learned to read and built a business for himself that's still standing today. My father has since passed, but my uncles and other relatives still run this business. That's the legacy that being an American can afford you. That's a legacy that getting his citizenship afforded him. A few years ago, I went home. I went to visit his grave and pay my respects, but I also went to visit the house that he built, that I grew up in, this house on a few acres, a kind of sprawling estate for the land in the Keys. If you're familiar with the Keys, it's on Grassy Key. And it had 5 bedrooms and a whole downstairs, and it was just amazing. And all these beautiful lush fruit trees at the time when my father was alive, and this mason fence hand done in his signature archways. And I was having a moment of nostalgia. I wanted to revisit that and take pictures so I would have the memories forever. You know, you take it for granted when you're there. And so we contacted the realtor. My friend and I, the Scottish guy and I, decided to go in and take pictures and pretend we were going to buy the house. I just wanted to get in. I just wanted to see my childhood for maybe the last time. And so we got in. And I'm going around from room to room and having all these memories flood back. And the house is boarded up because of hurricane. It's right on the water. So because of hurricane protection. So it's not as light and bright as I remember. It's not as airy as I remember it. But I'm walking through, and the realtor is on my heels. And he's telling me about the house like a realtor would. He's telling me about the wonderful features and the things that it has and the things that it had added to it and this widow's tower and all kinds of things. And I'm like, wow, that wasn't here when Daddy was here.